Hey everyone, Lee here. Today we are making the Diamond Link Paracord necklace. It's a super simple one, and with a little bit of patience, you'll get it too. The only supplies you'll need is a bike chain, 4 foot of paracord, chain breaker, which I will have down in the description, and a knotter's tool. If you don't have a knotter's tool, a fit or needle nose pliers will work just fine. If you have any problems, please let me know down in the comments. I'll be glad to help. Enough talk, let's begin. To start this necklace, we first have to clean the chain. As you can see here, I have just a few links. If you have the whole chain, you can stick to just cleaning a section of it, but having less links makes this process easier. Now for this next part, I used a plastic brush. A metal one is too rough for the chain and will scratch it up. If you don't have a plastic one, a toothbrush will work fine. Now with your brush, on both sides, scrub the dirt and grease out of each link. Even after all of that scrubbing, there will still be grease on your chain. To fully get it off, I used brake clean. I went to each side multiple times until the brake clean was clear running off of the links. Right there's pretty good. Now grab a napkin and dry it off. If you still see grease in between each of the links, continue to spread brake clean. Once verified that it's all clean, head back inside and we can start on the necklace. Okay, now that we're inside, we can start by breaking our chain. Look at it closely, and you can see that one side is an inside link, while the other is an outside link. If your chain has two outside links, you'll need to take one of the ends off, but if not, then good. On your inside link, you'll want to make sure it still has the bearing, because if it doesn't, you will have an empty space when making the necklace. When putting it in the chain breaker, come back 3 spaces. Now there's lots of different chain breakers. I'll have a link below on where to get this one. With the one I have, I'm going to place it on the left side closest to the smaller knob. Verify that the chain is on its 3rd space. Holding the links down with one hand, tighten on the left knob with the other. Make sure the links are all the way down. Once finished, meet the pin on the chain breaker up with the bearing pin. Before you really start tightening down, make sure they line up and that it's not going to bend. If it looks good, begin turning more and more. It will be pretty tough to turn, but too tough could mean it's jammed up. If so, don't keep turning because it could tear up the chain breaker. If yours is good, keep going. Now we don't want to push the bearing pin all the way out. To prevent this from happening, stop turning when it looks like it's at the end. Take it off and see if the links will come apart. If not, put it back on and turn it slightly more. Repeat this process until they come apart, with the bearing pin still in one side. With a little practice, I found where I needed to stop and got it first try. If you think you got it, take it off and pull apart. Once done, flip it around and push them together. If your pin wasn't quite far enough out, you might have to separate them like I did here. If you have any problems, let me know down in the comments. I'd be happy to help. Also, if you're not a member of the Discord, click on that first link in the description. There's lots of cool things in there. Now put the link back into the chain breaker and repeat the first step, but this time with the bearing pin facing the chain breaker pin. Tighten on that left side and make sure both pins line up and that it's not going to bend. On the chain breaker I use in this video, the pin is bent, which makes it look like it's not going in straight, but I paid close attention and got it to work. Continue turning until it lines up with the pin on that same side. Once you're finished, check that both sides line up. The side on which the pin came out will be tighter due to pressing it back in. If all looks okay, let's move on. If you have a design on your link like this one here, be sure to get that facing the right way before we start. Now with your cord, pull off 4 foot and melt the ends. Take your weaving strand and go straight through the center of your link. Match up your ends and check that your design is the way you want it facing. Once those few steps are done, we can really begin working. Now with it facing away from you, begin rolling your weaving strand in your fingers as if turning a key inside of a car. In case you were wondering, this is called the diamond knot. I'll try and go nice and slow to explain how it's done. For me, it's a lot easier to slide it on my middle finger when tying the diamond knot. As you see here, all I did was put the link right over my finger, and pinching either side, making sure it didn't slide. Doing the same thing we did before, rolling it as if turning a key in a car. And before moving on, make sure it looks just like mine. I'll do it one more time here to be sure you got it. If all goes well, start by placing that right loop over your left strand. Take that left strand and bring it behind your right strand, going over, under, over as I do here. I'll slow it down to make it easier. My hand gets in the way a bit, but all I did was go over our right loop, under our left strand, and back over our right loop, all with the left strand. If it looks like this, you're doing good, but if not, go back and rewatch to try and get it right. Now take your left strand and bring it behind your right strand once again. Take it and go right up through the center. If it's all still going well, take your right strand and do the same thing, going around back, behind your left strand, and right up through the center. And there's the hardest part done. Begin cinching it up. It might look a little crazy, but before you think you did it wrong, try getting it a little tighter on each side, keeping our ends even. All we're trying to do is get it closer and closer to our link until it's tied up against it. To be able to get it closer to our link, you have to work all the slack out. Start by pushing one of the strands on bottom to the top and just keep pulling all the way around. I'll try and show you a little better here. Just remember to swap back and forth to keep the ends even. All your slack should go right out the top, just like so. Do the exact same thing on the opposite side. Once I got my knot cinched up against the link, I then use my knotters tool to get it as tight as possible. If you don't have a knotters tool, needle nose pliers or a fid will work just fine. Be careful not to pierce the cord in the process. Determine your length by sliding it up or down with the cord crossed over as shown. Once your length is determined, wrap the left strand over the right, once and twice. Cross it back over itself and go through the loops. Now using the opposing strand, cinch it up and repeat the same process on the opposite side. I flipped mine over in the video, repeating exactly what we just did, wrapping twice, crossing it over, and with the weaving strand going back through the loops. Put it back on. Don't get the knots all the way tight just yet. Adjust the necklace to desired length, and when done so, the knots might be offset as shown here. Begin tying them to where they're equal on both sides of the necklace. When pulled tight, both of the knots should be equal to each other. Tighten it down and begin snipping. As always, if you had any trouble, let me know down in the comments or in the Discord server in that top link in the description. You can leave a little bit of length on these if you want to. On this one here, I cut them all the way down. But as always, thank you so much for watching. I'll catch y'all on the next one. Later.